Good evening, good evening. Welcome all, welcome.
Hi.
Sunday night Satsang with myself, John Homewood.
And Michelle McLennan. Hi everyone.
Hi everyone. Yeah, we'll just wait a few moments for people to join. Wait a few moments.
Just gone 7:30, so we'll wait a bit.
We'll wait a few moments. And just to say in the beginning that these Satsangs we hold every 2 weeks on Facebook Live, and then we rebroadcast them on YouTube as well. So welcome. If you joining us for the first time, we'd like to know who you are, a little bit about you in the comments section. And if you've joined us before, also say hi in the comments section. It's nice to know who we're talking to. And we love getting the hearts. Thank you. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, if you can, subscribe and like and share. That's else.
I think that's about it.
Work. So thank you. We're just waiting for a few more people to join, and then we shall start.
Yeah, and just let us know who you are and where you're from, so that we know who we're speaking to, and we know we're not speaking into a vacuum.
Yeah. Also, if it just came up there saying our interconnection is slow, I don't know why it would be slow. The weather's perfect tonight.
Should be fine.
Should be right, yeah. But if we do freeze or pause, please just type it up in the comments section. Let us know, because we don't know. So thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. Hopefully you've all had a lovely restful weekend. We've had quite a busy weekend. We had our adopted granddaughter here for the weekend.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was really, very lovely.
Nothing like an 8-year-old and 9 to change your perceptions.
Yes, yes.
Bring you back into play mode. Hi Shelley and Terry. Hello Paula.
Hello Paula. Hi. Yeah. So the purpose of these satsangs is really to focus our energy from the mundane world of things and events and doingnesses, and to align ourselves into the world of being, the energetic, the light, the field of life. And it's good to do this on a Sunday night, because it actually sets up the frequency and the vibration for the week ahead, for the new week ahead. And as we've said many times before, we are powerful beyond measure. We are so powerful. I know we've been dumbed down through religion and through education and through the television and the media, but in fact we are powerful beyond measure. And it's to align to this, what we call the vertical plane, the light, that really does offer us the opportunity to be a conscious creator of the new earth as we move forward at these times. And it's important to do this work, and it's important also to realize the incredible necessity of meditation in our lives at this time. And meditation, quite simply, means no mind. It's to step out of the mind. And while the mind may be programmed from past and may be predetermined going to future, when we meditate, when we go into the stillness, the place of emptiness, from there we become the infinite creator of our next events. So that's the importance of meditation. The importance of meditation is to roll the mind and come into alignment with this moment, with the power of presence.
And it aligns our head and our heart, and it opens up our energy, so we then send different frequency into the field. So this kind of get together, whenever we do it with more than one of us, it's very powerful, because we're actually feeding energy into the field. So it's not just about ourselves. It's lovely to get together, and it's lovely to connect on a personal level, but on a collective level, this is what our planet is so desperately in need of, is just people getting together like this and connecting and aligning, so that we're actually putting out a different frequency into the field, and that actually shifts the field.
Yeah, it does, yeah. I always come back to the quote by Gandhi. You've got to be the change you desire to see in the world. And if it is peace that you want to see in the world, meditation is a wonderful way of establishing that vibration, that frequency that feeds the field. So these Sunday night satsangs are, I think, an integral part of the transformational process, both individually in our own lives, in our own relationships, but more importantly also in the collective consciousness of all of humankind. So welcome to those who've just joined. Let's start this evening, shall we, by centering ourselves in this beautiful place called the present moment, the most sacred place in all of creation. Hello, Hans, and who was that above that? Didn't see. So gently close your eyes, center yourselves into the physical body. The physical body is a very powerful portal into meditation because the physical body is always present. It's only the mind that has the ability to leave the present moment and go into the past and the future. But the physical body is our portal back into presence. So just by focusing our attention and our awareness back into this beautiful human body, we activate the power of life within us, here and now. And the human body requires the breath to be alive. I know when we wake up in the morning we may worry about many things, but the most important thing to being alive at this time is the breath, is breathing. And the reason it's so powerful is because it's not a thingness. The breath is more a process. So let's just withdraw our mind from all other times and all other places and focus on the breath, on the very breath that we're taking in this moment. Becoming aware of the nostrils, the tip of the nose, and the beautiful flow of air in and out of the body. It only takes one deep conscious breath to become once more aligned with your true essence, with being. So let's take together a beautiful deep breath in, collectively breathing in, deep down into the body, and then a beautiful long surrendering breath out, just letting it go. Take a second deep breath in. Just see that as you breathe in, your tummy moves out. So you're breathing into the lower diaphragm, and as you breathe out, your tummy comes back in again. This is the relaxation breath. And breathe in again to the count of 4. And breathe out to the count of 8. And this breathing in this way helps us synchronize ourselves as a group. It helps us bring our heart rhythms into a sympathetic resonance, a coherence. And there is, as Michelle said earlier, so much power when we gather in this way. And as we breathe together, so our heart rhythms become connected. And there's an incredible power that ripples out into our lives and into the world around us. So let's just do that one more time. Another very coordinated deep breath in, blowing your tummy out as you breathe in, so you're really getting the air right the way down to the lower reaches of the lungs. And then a very long surrendering breath out, just letting go, letting go, letting go. Just release everything. And just allow life to breathe you now, keeping this beautiful, slow, rhythmic breathing, but allowing life to form the pattern and the pace of that breath. Keeping your attention on the tip of the nose and just following the breath with your attention, but not trying to control it now in any way at all. And as we focus on the breath, let's also focus on the faculty of listening. There may be some physical sounds that you can hear in your environment. Just allow them to be. But listen even more intently. And if you become very quiet and very still inside right now, you have the possibility of hearing your own heartbeat in your eardrums. So keeping your attention on the rhythmic flow of the breath, also become aware, if you can, of the beating of your heart in your own eardrums. notice your consciousness that's aware of the listening, of the breathing. It's not your name, it's not your gender or your age. This is really you. This is the eternal you, the formless you that's aware. It's aware of the body, it's aware of the breath, it's aware of all the sounds coming into your awareness. Take another very deep breath in. And as you breathe out, surrender even more to this moment, to this stillness, to this quietness, to this emptiness, to the beingness of life in this moment. Resist nothing in this moment. If there are any tension points in the body, any aches or pains, allow them to be there with no resistance, with no labeling them, no need for them to dissipate in any way. We just allow, we have this space of allowing in this moment. And consciously let's use our intention to open our hearts. Open our hearts to the energy that we call life, that we call presence, that we call love. With every out-breath, open even more to this present moment, here and now. Embracing life in its fullness in this moment. And as we open and as we surrender, so we become a portal for Christ consciousness, for love, for unconditional love to come into this plane of experience. You might like to visualize yourself as an open channel with light coming in through the crown chakra, through the top of your head, and then radiating out through your heart in a beautiful beam of white light to the world around you. And as we all do this, there's an infinite increase in capacity for this light, this powerful light of divine healing. Take another deep breath in. And as you breathe out, surrender and open even more. With your awareness in your heart, feel a sense of gratitude for your physical body, for this breath, and for the faculty of hearing. Become empty and open, so that you become an instrument of grace in this dimension. We are so privileged and so blessed to be here now. Take another very, very deep breath in, slow, deep breath in. And surrender that breath back into the life around you. And keeping this stillness, keeping this softness, keeping this kindness and this gentleness within your awareness. Gently, when you're ready, open your eyes. Just see how you feel in this moment. Hello
Hello,
all.
everyone.
Hi everyone. Hi, hi, hi.
Hello, Sue. Lovely to have you all with us. Thank you for being here.
Yes, so tonight's focus after Satsang is resist nothing. Resist nothing. It's such a beautiful concept to hold in our heads as we move through our lives. Resist nothing. Say yes to life. We had another Satsang on saying yes. So resist nothing. And if we think of the image that always comes to my mind is those old bar heaters, if you can remember, with the coil around the central channel, and when you pass electricity through it would glow red. And the reason it glowed red and got very hot was because there was a lot of resistance in that electrical wire. So when there's resistance within us, we create heat and energy, and we feel that quite often as very uncomfortable emotions. And so by becoming clearer and resisting nothing, we become an open channel for this power, this energy to flow through us, unrestricted, unresisted.
Yeah.
And then we're able to experience life in a far more joyful way, and in a way that aligns us with the flow of life in this moment. So that's the theme for tonight. What's happening in the stars?
Well, it's very aligned with this,
Is it?
obviously.
Okay.
Yes. So, I did a session, an update on the full moon, which was yesterday, but you're still feeling the energies now and for the next few days. And very much of that energy is that releasing and just allowing. It's allowing and not resisting. Because we often feel that we have to fight things in order to make them better and get them done and sort them out. And it's the very thing that actually stops the flow. So when we're in resistance, we're out of alignment, basically. And we're saying, as John said there, say yes to life. We're saying no to life. We're saying, shouldn't be like this. And we're putting up a wall and we're shutting down our energy. So it's just to know that. And the astrology of this time is it's quite gentle. It's quite watery. It's actually asking us to just give up the resistance. And if you find yourself at a difficult spot, whether it's in relationships or financially or job-wise, there's so many people that are in that kind of almost limbo, unknowing state of not knowing what to do next, not knowing what's going to happen next, being in between places, jobs, relationships, or whatever it is. And then we feel that we have to figure it out and work it out. And this energy is actually saying, for now, if you feel that way, is to actually just surrender it and resist nothing. So not resisting pain, not resisting emotions, not resisting your thoughts, not resisting anything. Just accepting and allowing everything that's arising to arise. And in that is a clearing. It's clearing the way. It's actually opening us as opposed to closing us. So the energies right now are very much, there's sort of a harshness on one hand and a very gentle energy on the other. So it's to balance and integrate our need to be present for what's arising and our need to do the things that we need to do in the world, because we're human and we have a human experience, but without getting caught up in it too much.
Yeah, so the next 2 weeks is really the moon is dissipating, isn't it?
It's now releasing, waning moon.
Waning moon. So that is a surrender. So if we can just focus for the next couple of weeks on the process of surrendering, of allowing. And so the theme of resist nothing is a very powerful theme, I think, for the next couple of weeks. Resist nothing.
And there's more than just the moon, but the moon is waning, and so it reaches its fullness, which you might have felt over the last few days, and then it starts to wane, starts to get small in the sky from our perspective. And that's the time where we release and we let go, we release and we let go, and we allow and we surrender.
Yeah, and you must never ask your mind for permission to surrender, because the mind, as we understand it, is actually a tool of judgment. That's what the mind does. It's designed to judge the environment, safe or unsafe, etc. This is good for me or this isn't good for me. That's what the mind does. It's a judgmental tool. and its very process is always resisting the isness of the moment. So this process of surrender, this process of resist nothing, is a process of actually stepping out of the mind, not resisting the mind. We're not saying no to the mind. We're allowing the mind to be there with its judgments, but we are no longer identified with those thought processes. We're no longer in alignment, or in not alignment, in resistance at all to life, and therefore we allow the mind to do whatever it does, but we no longer get a sense of self from what the mind is telling us. Because if we think about the ego, or even the personality, that's a conglomerate of resistance. That's what the ego is. It has boundaries, it has separations, it has memories of yesterday, it has anticipations for tomorrow. That's what the ego has. It has me and other, and mine and others. So there's always a sense of separation in that. And in that idea of self, there's resistance to the isness of this moment. So part of this process of surrender is to surrender the ego back to its rightful place as a vehicle or a servant of us, and not allow it to dominate us or to give us a false sense of identity, to surrender the ego.
It's not to identify with it. So it's, you have thoughts and you have concerns and you have anxieties and you have all these things, emotions, but it's not to believe that we are them. And so we don't form an identity with it. So I'm feeling sad. It doesn't mean I am sad. It doesn't mean sadness is me and me is sadness. Or I'm feeling anxious. It doesn't mean I'm anxious. My being is not anxious. My mind's anxious, but not my being. So when we start to see that, we actually start to see that we're none of that. And we're the awareness that sees it. And so when we resist, we're actually blocking that. We're kind of blocking the channel. We creating a sort of a barrier. And I think a lot of people sort of think that resist nothing. I said to somebody the other day that it doesn't mean that you have to be an amoeba. And she laughed because she hadn't heard that word since she was at high school.
Biology.
Yeah. But, you know, it doesn't mean you have to just sit there and lie back with your hands in the air and not do anything. It's not that. That's not surrender.
Process,
it's an internal process. So it's not sort of releasing any grip on anything and just saying I'm allowing everything to just be as it is, I'm not going to do anything. It's not that. It's an internal releasing of resistance. And then moving into the next thing that we have to take care of or sort out, but not from a place of resistance, because the resistance is shutting down.
Yeah, the saying is, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. But how you do it changes. Before enlightenment, there's a resistance. The bucket is too heavy that I'm carrying water in.
Don't want to do this.
The axe is too heavy. The axe is blunt, or whatever the story
I
is.
shouldn't be chopping wood.
Why do I have to do this? You know, that's the resistance. It's all those stories in the head. And after enlightenment, no, I'm just carrying the water, or I'm just chopping the wood. I'm just washing the dishes. I'm just putting the children to bed. You know, whatever it is, this is what I'm doing. There's no resistance. There's no story anymore. There's no identity of self invested in resisting life in that moment. So here's a wonderful tool which you can use. So if you use your imagination and you see that you have, for example, a lovely scroll, and you can see that there are 3 panels on the scroll. There's the one on the left-hand side, which is a panel labeled past. And on the right-hand side, there's another panel marked future. But right in the middle is the central panel, and it's marked present. So what we do is we roll up the scroll till only the central panel is visible, only presence. And in that, we find non-resistance to the present moment, because we can always deal with the present moment. Most of our resistance actually doesn't come from the isness of this moment. It comes from the previous moment or the anticipated next moment. It comes from yesterday, memories of yesterday, and anticipations of tomorrow. And we're saying constantly no to life as it appears in time. But life itself is not in time. Life itself is timeless, and it's the essence of presence. So when we start to say yes to the present moment, and it's the wisest thing we can do, because whatever is occurring in the present moment is already there. You know, that alarm in the house next door is going off. It is already. Why do I have to create suffering for myself by resisting it? If there's something I can do to go and switch off the alarm, well, I go and do that. But I don't resist the isness of this moment, because it's already here. It's actually quite insane to say no to the present moment, because the present moment is here already. Yes, the driver did pull in front of you. Yes, maybe he is inconsiderate. That's the isness of the moment. If there's something you can do about the situation, you do it. But now you do it with acceptance rather than resistance. Now, the moment we change that, first of all, we end our own suffering, because all suffering comes from our resisting the flow of life in this moment. That's where suffering comes from. Saying, no, it should not be there. So we ease our immediate experiences happening in this moment. But more than that, first of all, from a physical body point of view, we open our body to the flow of life. And this ease is exactly that. It's being not at ease. This ease, being stressed. The moment we say yes to the present moment, stress dissipates and our body goes into a healing process. So we allow the chi, the life energy, to flow through the body, unimpeded by the mind's resistance to the present moment. At the same time, as we did in our opening meditation, we open ourselves up for this energy, you might call it grace, to flow through you, and your action will be guided by that higher energy. So you'll become an instrument of positive transformation in this world in a peaceful, loving, centered way, rather than in an angry or resistant way.
Well, the image comes to mind of a hose pipe with a twist in it. When we're resisting, we're doing that, and we're twisting a hose pipe. So we're stopping the flow and we're creating a block, and then that block actually leads into our physicality as well. So as we start to open, and they're having miraculous, unbelievable research is being done into just exactly how being in presence and meditation actually assists healing, and sometimes creates allows miraculous healing to happen, because the energy is allowed to flow through your body and you're completely aligned. So I think in terms of the resistance, it's just to see it during your day, because so many of us have got into a rut of the same pattern, because we get into a pattern, and it's a pattern of behavior, either in our own being and our own dialogue that we have with ourselves, or a pattern of behavior with our partners, our loved ones, our kids, our parents, and we don't realize that we're actually in that resistant pattern, because it's just happening on its own. It's like a record that just keeps on happening, the same track. So it's when you become aware of the resistance, and you can actually become aware of where you feel it in your body. You can actually become aware that I've just gone into resistance about exactly what John was saying, about this is happening and it shouldn't be happening. And then you can feel it in your body, and in that moment you can make a choice. And that's what awareness is. So it's just to be aware of, I've gone into resistance about this, or with this person, or with this thing that I have to do that I don't want to do, and the whole story about it. So it's in that moment to actually bring yourself back. And that's where meditation and our practice helps us, because we actually are strengthening the root into presence. So that if we do find ourselves going into resistance or going into a story, our root is there, our anchor is there, so we can come back to the anchor. So it's not really enough to do it once a week. It's a practice. That's why it's called a practice. So to wake up in the morning and do 10 minutes in the morning, it doesn't have to be hours and hours. To do 10 minutes before you go to sleep, to pause during your day, over and over again as many times as you can, to just pause, breathe. I'm in resistance. Okay, pause. Just pause. That's a practical way of actually dealing with not being in resistance all the time.
Yeah, and the barometer of how much you are resisting and how much you are flowing with life in this moment is always how we are feeling. If we have feelings of unpleasant feelings like anger or regret or fear, those are all signs that there is some resistance to life. In order to be in alignment with life, which is presence, there has to be trust. Trust in this infinite intelligence in the present moment called life. That same intelligence that I was saying earlier, put the fingernails at the end of your fingers, put the ears on either side of your head, that gave you the eyes and the neurological dendrites that you had in your brain when you were born and that you have in you today. So that intelligence called life needs to be trusted in order for us to let go of this resistance to the flow of events in our life. And so it's to monitor how we are feeling in this moment. Do we have feelings of resistance? Are we upset? Is there uncomfortableness in our body or in our mind or in our emotions in this moment? If they are, then just know there's some part of us that's saying no to life in this moment. And that with awareness comes transformation. It's not what you know, it's not what you know that's a problem, it's what you don't know that you don't know. And emotions are a very powerful way of determining or bringing our awareness back to, hang on a minute, there's some unconscious pattern playing out in me in this moment that I'm not conscious of maybe, but it's playing out. And one of the ways of seeing where we're most unconscious or where we are resisting most in life is, as you were saying, in repeating patterns, in that old record that gets stuck in a groove and keeps on repeating itself. So look at your own lives and see what patterns are continually showing up in your life, in whatever form, because there's an unconscious resistance to the flow of life. Life doesn't work in those patterns and repeating past patterns. Life is always new and creative in each moment. There's infinite possibility in every moment for things to be different, for things to be new. But where there are repeating patterns, it's because we have repeating patterns going on in our subconscious mind, which is creating the same thoughts, the same feelings that we had yesterday. And it's estimated that between 90 and 95% of all the thoughts that we think today are repeating patterns or repeating thoughts of the day before. And we know now from quantum physics that this physical reality that we find ourselves in is the result of energy patterns of the field. And so if we want to change things in the physical world, we first have to change the field. And we do that by creating new energetic patterns radiating through us and from us. And that's the thoughts we think and the feelings we feel. So as we become conscious of those old repeating patterns, which are signs of resistance, and choosing more consciously, more aware and more wisely of what thoughts and what feelings we want to feel to create the field that we want to manifest new physical reality from. And there is, as I said earlier, a greater intelligence in this energy called life than our mind or our brain could possibly conceive. Life is the true intelligence, and when we hand over to that, when we open up to that, when we become still enough and quiet enough and unresistant enough within us to listen to that flow and to move in the direction that life is offering to us in that moment, that's when we truly become conscious creators of this world. And who in their right mind would consciously create more pain and more suffering for yourself and for those around you? You wouldn't. And as you become more conscious and more awake and more in alignment with life, so that those old thought patterns and emotional patterns which were creating the pain and the suffering in the past dissipate in the light of presence. Your point of power is always in the present moment. In each moment you can choose not to resist, to say yes to life. It's not that you, as Michelle said earlier, it's not that you sit back and you let everyone walk over you. Don't. But how you approach each challenge changes. You don't go in with that resistant energy anymore. You go in with an open heart, with an acceptance that this is a difficult situation, that was a hurtful thing that the person said to you, but you no longer take it personally, and you then approach it with a sense of kindness and compassion.
Yeah, and often the resistance comes from fear, and it's so a situation arises, and it might be a situation that takes you into anxiety or fear, and your reactionary pattern takes you back into that same loop, because that's a fear. It's a very old fear. Now, you don't have to sit and unpack all of those fears. That's why I'm saying it's so important to actually connect with how your body's feeling. And this month that we're in astrologically is all about feeling. It's all about connecting with what you're feeling. It's not about staying there or wallowing in the feeling, if you like. It's just about acknowledging what you're feeling. And a lot of people right now are feeling sadness. A lot of people right now might even be feeling a bit of grief for what they're letting go. That's possible as well. And so it's just to acknowledge the feeling. Allow it to be there. You don't have to unpack it. You don't have to analyze it. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to go and speak about it for 3 weeks. You just have to understand that there's a feeling passing through you. It's like a wave. And you're opening more to it. And that's the process of dealing with the limiting the resistance, is the allowing it to be the way it is. You're not trying to change it. You're just allowing it. You're noticing it. You're seeing it. You're seeing I do see that this is a resistant pattern. And I feel it. More importantly, I can feel it in my body. Because right now my body's gone into a tight, closed posture. My jaw's sort of gone into a gripping. You can feel it. So as soon as you feel it, that's the opportunity to step back, to breathe, and to soften,
and
allow,
to
open.
Yeah.
So it's opening or closing. Am I in this moment opening, or am I in this moment closing? I'm closing. Okay, I can choose to open. I can choose to breathe, pause, open, soften your body. And just that process is actually going to start to change the pattern of behavior, the pattern, that stuck record, because it's changing your state. So it's instead of going around the circle, it's now going like that. So it's actually, it's what do they call it? A state change. It's actually stopping the loop. So it's now, it's the energy is free to go somewhere else. It's not just going to keep going around the same loop over and over again.
Yeah. The same emotional patterns, the same thought patterns.
The same arguments, the same conversations that you have with yourself or others.
Yeah, the same responses from the world around you. I mean, that's quite obvious for a lot of people to look at those past patterns. Do you continually meet a certain process in the world as you move through life? And it's a reflection of a pattern in you. So the secret is to open to life. Every time we close, we are resisting life, and we are building more karma for ourselves and more pain and suffering for ourselves. Now the mind and the ego gets its very identity by resisting life. The more the ego, the mind resists life, the stronger it gets. But at this time in our evolution, it's now time to dissolve that resistance, to dissolve the boundaries and the barriers and the armor that we've placed around our heart, and to open, to dissolve those senses of separation that we have between us and the world around us, to dissolve it in the light of acceptance, in the light of non-resistance, in the light of presence. What the world needs now is more love. And what is love but the sense of oneness in our awareness? The sense of separation is always the fear response. The sense of you and the other and the need for protection comes from the vibration of fear. And the world doesn't need more fear right now. It needs more love. And we can't create love. What we can do is open and allow love to flow through us into the world that we meet moment to moment to moment. So love is not a commodity to be given or to be received. It's something to be opened up to. The more we open, the more we allow this infinite love to flow through us into the world, and then we find magic happening, then we find miracles happening, because we then align with that beautiful intelligence called grace to flow through us into the world and do the healing that's necessary. We don't do healing. We open and allow healing to happen through us for our own body and for the world around us. It's the old way of being was always to work within the masculine. The masculine is the energy of doing, of accomplishment. And so we've even turned meditation into the masculine of doing. We accomplish meditation.
I had a good meditation. I had a terrible meditation.
And I managed to meditate for 12 hours non-stop.
And you only meditated for, exactly.
So that's the doingness. That's competition and that's male. But in fact, what we need to do now is invite the feminine energy into our awareness. And that is an allowing, opening energy, the energy of softness, the energy of being. And that's really the portal now for the new world, to come through that feminine energy into this world. Whether it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, we open to that softness, that openness. And then we start to find that the old weapons of defense that we used to have to rely upon to make our way in the world become redundant. They become superfluous, because now we work with the miraculous, and we find that the physical world that we meet isn't so solid anymore. It becomes very malleable, very pliable, very open to this miraculous change that we're talking about. So by resisting nothing, we find that more miracles show up in our life.
Because each time we resist, we're kind of resisting ourselves as well, because we're connected to all that is. So as we resist our environment, we're resisting ourselves. So it's a magnetic thing, and it's a frequency thing. So I'm in resistance, I'm resisting you, so I'm resisting me. And it comes from fear that we're separate and that we're not connected, and all sorts of other conditioned patterns. So as soon as you actually say, I accept me, I accept this moment, you're accepting your surroundings, it's bringing in connection with other people. It's actually easing the connection, as opposed to separating us more. But our fear-conditioned responses are, I'm here and I'm going to keep myself safe, and you're going to go over there because I don't want you near me. And that's what we're dealing with on our planet, is all this polarity and all this separation and all these, this one doesn't like that one and this one's at war with that one. And the only thing that's going to mend that is interconnection and acceptance and love. And that's the feminine energy. It's not female, it's feminine energy. And the male, the masculine energy is necessary and wonderful, and so is the feminine energy. But there's been an imbalance for thousands of years, and that's what's shifting. So the more we can actually up the feminine energy now, we're actually balancing out that imbalance within ourselves first, and then that ripples out, obviously, because we're connected to the field.
And it's just to recognize that the feminine energy is that holding energy, that space, that allowing energy. And I know back in the 1960s, when we had women's liberation, it turned women into doers. They became factory workers, getting out into the world of accomplishment, and leaving the kids to be schooled in formal education. And that was actually a further negation of the female energy back in the 1960s. And there are many, many people now that gain their whole sense of self-worth from how much they produce in a day, how much they do in a day. And that is not the feminine energy. That's not the true feminine energy. And if you think of it this way, that we are in truth, and science is showing it more and more and more now, that we are in truth light. We are beings of light. And what happens when you resist light is you create darkness. And the world doesn't need any more darkness at this stage. It needs more light. So how do we work with that? Is we open. We open and we don't resist. And in the opening we allow this light to come through us into our own awareness, into our own body, our own emotional body, our own mental body, but also it flows through us into the world that we meet. We are light. There's an incredible new healing technology that we've come across, and it works just purely on the light of our body. It's incredible. It works in miraculous ways, but it works from the activation of the light within our body. We'll put up a little clip on that technology.
We're going to be seeing a lot more of that with the astrology that's happening right now, which is in addition to the things that we were a bit nervous of, like AI. There's also going to be miraculous, unbelievable technological developments in healing, and it's already happening. So where we realize that we actually have the healing inside our bodies.
And we start to work with this light.
It's not outside, it's inside.
Yeah.
And as we start to realize that, we will realize that we can actually bring the healing about in our own being without any outside medication or chemicals or anything like that in many respects. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen over the next 20 years there.
Well, we've been programmed.
That's coming.
We've been programmed for too long, I believe, negatively, to believe in thingnesses, in substances, in form, when in fact, in truth, the true energy that we are, the beingness, is formless. And when we start to work our way back into alignment with that beingness, life is an energy. Light is an energy. When we start to see ourselves as energy beings, everything changes. And the return journey into that is resist nothing. Open, continually open, and allow the light of your true awareness to flow through you into this moment, into the world that you meet, and expect miracles, because they are there. They are there.
So that's what we can do this week. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing our satsangs every second week. So we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. And until then, just see if you can just bring your attention, bring your focus to, am I opening or am I closing? During your day, I'm closing. Bring yourself back in. It's coming back. It's a coming back process. It's not a going out somewhere else. It's coming back to that. And we're also starting another journey.
Journey to Freedom course, a 13-week online journey of transformation, allowing us to look at those dark places of resistance and dissolving them in the light of awareness. And we'll be starting about the 18th, I think it's the 18th of July. We'll be starting a new 13-week course. 13-week
online journey, and it's interactive. It's we've run 15, I think now, over the last 4 years.
4 years,
and we're looking forward to doing another one. Our last one started in February, so it ended a little while ago, and this may be our last one this year. So we'll be putting that out in the next few days, just to show you, to tell you what we're doing there. And the first week will be for free, so you can travel with us for a week and get quite a lot of value out of that week anyway, and see if it's resonant with you.
And we're amazed now, because as this energy changes in the cosmos, and we are going through a huge cosmic event at the moment, so we're able to perceive things at a deeper level. And the information that maybe you thought you knew, when you journey with us for 13 weeks, you'll go much deeper into the realization of what is really being pointed to with different material. And it is a realization. In other words, it's to see with real eyes less polluted by the restrictions and the resistance of the mind, and allow the higher levels of a consciousness, which you are in truth already, to come through and to shine through the illusion of separateness, of fear, of resistance into your awareness more fully, so that you can become a true healer, a true beacon of light, as we move into the new earth, which is being born right now.
Yeah, it is. They're very transformative times that we're in. And it's a coming back to, our journey is a coming back to who you really are.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And it's over 13 weeks, you get to practice that with a group of people. Yeah. So you get to practice it every day. And you get to work with the material every day. And that's why it's so effective, because you actually feel and see the shift in your own life.
Yeah. It's all very well hearing us or other people say to you, you are a being of light. But until you truly experience that in your own everyday life, it's meaningless. And this is not a time of learning anything new. We're not going to teach you anything new. It's a case of reminding you of what's deeply hidden within your own awareness right now. It's just been overlooked, and it's a case of coming back to your true, authentic presence, your true, authentic being. That's what this journey is about. Yeah. You're going to lead us out with
I am indeed.
and you've
And
chosen
I picked a card.
card. Oh, that's
Beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah, a purple card. That's to do with the crown chakra. Yeah.
All right. So if you're still with us, which many of you still are, please would you just settle in a little bit more. Make yourself comfortable, as comfortable as possible. Take a deep breath in, and then a long, slow, releasing breath out. Now take another deep breath in, hold for a moment, and then breathe it all out. And as you breathe out, see if you can just really release and soften and open. Let's do that for a third time. Deep breath in, all the way in, hold, and then release, release, release. Allow your shoulders to drop away from your ears. Allow your hands to just rest open wherever they are. Allow your heart to open. Put your shoulders back a little bit if you're sitting up. And just focusing on the breath. As the breath comes in through your nostrils, and as it leaves either through your mouth or through your nose. All you're doing is focusing on the breath. So the breath is an anchor. If thoughts come in, which they might do, just focus back onto the breath. Allowing yourself to become more and more still. Allowing yourself to float as if you were a feather, floating very gently through the air, very softly down, 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 and then landing very gently on a beautiful, still pool of water, with the moonlight shining into it. Allowing yourself to be like this feather, simply floating, simply being. In this moment, nothing to achieve, nowhere to go. Just being here, underneath the surface of the busy mind, on this beautiful, clear water. It might just be moving softly underneath you, supporting you, holding you. And breathing and softening. And allowing. Allowing whatever needs to come up. Allowing whatever is there to be there. And bringing your focus back to your breath. Allowing it all. Just being the gentle, feminine holding space for whatever is arising in this moment. And with each breath, opening more, softening more, allowing more, melting into this precious present moment. Becoming one with it. Noticing the stillness within you, the peace that is always here. Our card for the week is, I melt my old egoic self into love. I melt my old egoic self into love. Allow yourself to melt in this moment. Allow yourself to soften in this moment. Allow yourself to just be. To let everything be exactly as it is. As we allow this, we connect to a higher intelligence. And we open the channel for light and love and healing to flow through us into our being and out into the field. I melt my old egoic self into love. I'm now taking a beautiful, gentle breath in and a releasing breath out. When you're ready, you can gently start to open your eyes.
That was beautiful. That's the right frequency and the vibration to help all of us have a beautiful, peaceful week ahead. Thank you for being with us tonight, and don't forget that image that I gave you earlier of that scroll with the 3 panels on. Continually, as you move through the next couple of weeks, roll the scroll up past and future till only the present moment is visible, and see what a change it makes in your life and the way you experience life and the way other people experience you. And let us know how it goes. Lots of love and blessings,
everybody.
and we look forward to catching up with you in 2 weeks' time.
Sleep tight.